still in secondary school and looking for love that I didn't have. I got involved with Josh and got pregnant at 16 years old. That was another phase of trauma I can't even begin to explain. I didn't know I was pregnant until I was months gone. My parents agreed for Josh's parents to take the baby away from me. They sent me to the village to stay with my grandma. Hello, Bussy here. It's another week and it's another month, and you're welcome to Life Stories with Bussy. Welcome to the month of August, the 8th month of the year. Yeah, we're gradually rolling to the end of the year. But August is a very special month, and it's very special because I was born in August. My birthday was 2 days ago, and I'm just so grateful and thankful to be here doing what I love to do. I'm grateful to God for adding another year to my years. So happy birthday to all our August celebrants. Okay, I'm partial. Yeah, don't worry. I'll remember to wish September celebrants happy birthday. I'll try to remember. Anyway, I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. I had so many things to do and there wasn't time for me to do this. But I'm here today and I have another story. This story looks like something that you'll see in a Nollywood movie. But I can identify with some of the things that happened to the lady in this story. I can identify with them. I always tell people that if I sit down and I tell you my story, you would take a look at me a second time. You would wonder if it's a fictional book or if it's an Hollywood movie. If I tell you my story, but hey, it's not about my story today. Today is about this lady called Yemi. Yemi wrote in because she just wanted to encourage people. She said that she had been watching this program and that she's learned a lot and all that, but she also just wanted to share her own story to encourage people who are going through not to give up. She said she wants them to know that, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And that's the reason why she's sharing her story, that if she's gone through the kind of mess that she's gone through, and, she's come out of it and she's good, people can also come out of any problems that they find themselves in. Okay, so let me just go straight to Yemi's story. My name is Yemi, and my story is one of resilience and survival. I share it to connect with others, especially young women who may face similar challenges. I don't remember much of my childhood before the age of 10, and I don't recall experiencing much love growing up. My parents were okay, I guess, until they had my baby brother when I was 11. During my mother's pregnancy, she became harsh and often slapped me for small things, like looking at her the wrong way or not washing dishes to her satisfaction. People that I confided in told me that pregnant women could be cranky. So I tried to avoid anything that would earn me a slap or beating. But when these issues happen, she would still report me to my father when he comes back from work. And daddy had sets of canes that he gave names to that he would use to discipline me. When my brother was born, things got worse. I became responsible for all the household chores, cleaning, washing clothes, and cooking. My mother would measure out food portions, and if I mentioned that the food wouldn't be enough, she would slap me. She hid food supplies in her room so I couldn't access them. Once I entered her room to take a cup of gari, and they beat me like a thief. Most days, I either went hungry or drank small portion of gari. Neighbors then used to ask if I was sure that they were my real parents. They were the only parents I knew, and I couldn't tell the difference between my experience and normal parenting. When I complained to my father, he insisted that I needed to adapt to our circumstances because things were expensive. As I entered my teenage years, I noticed how differently my brother and I were treated. He received all the love and attention I didn't think I got when I was younger. I couldn't remember any special family moments. When I brought this matter up with an aunt from my mother's side, she explained that my parents cherished Jedediah because they had waited a long time for another child after me, and that because it was a boy, they felt like it was special. On my father's side, especially with my grandma, I sensed hostility. It seemed like she hated me. The only person who genuinely loved me was my maternal grandmother. She called me Ayanfe, a name that meant beloved, though my mother often insisted that she call me by my given name. Adeyemi. One day I was really hungry. I hadn't eaten good food for days, and my neighbors who sometimes gave me food had traveled. In the morning, when I was going to school, they told me to cook 8 slices of yam. 4 slices for my father, two for my mother, and 2 slices for Jedediah, my brother. When I asked her why I couldn't cook the remaining yam for myself, she said that she was keeping it for Jedediah for the next day because he likes yam. I grumbled about not eating good food for days. She started insulting me and calling me all sorts of names. When I fried eggs, she told me to fry 5. I fried 7 eggs, took some, and went to school with it, hoping to beg my best friend to buy bread for me. She came to my school and told my principal that I finished almost a crate of eggs, bringing them to school for my friends to eat. She also claimed that that's how I stole fish, meat, and chicken from the pots. The principal brought me out of the assembly, called me a thief, and I was flogged. When I got back home, my mother beat me mercilessly and even used pepper on my wounds. The neighbors came to rescue me from her hands. At that point, the neighbors concluded that they were not my parents. Still in secondary school and looking for love that I didn't have, I got involved with Josh and got pregnant at 16 years old. That was another phase of trauma I can't even begin to explain. I didn't know I was pregnant until I was months gone. My parents agreed for Josh's parents to take the baby away from me. They sent me to the village to stay with my grandma. I love my grandma, but she was not strong enough, and within a year of my arrival, she passed. She was the only person who really loved me. When my parents came to the village for the burial, they said that the chief of our village was interested in marrying me as his 5th wife and had promised to send me to school. I was forced to marry the old man. It was a very miserable existence because I was more of a house help to his 2 older wives during the day and had to satisfy his needs at night. I escaped from the village with the help of my cousin Heidi, who told me that he heard some of our family members discussing that I wasn't really the child of my parents. They said that my mother's sister, who they claimed died of sickness, was my real mother and she passed at childbirth when she had me. She never revealed who my father was. My grandmother couldn't really take care of me, and they handed me over to the woman I thought was my mother because she and her husband had been married for 8 years without a child. So I was kind of adopted by them. The story made so much sense when Heidi told me. I returned to Lagos, but to another area. I did all sorts of menial jobs, house girl, nanny, working in the bar and all that to try to make ends meet. It was in one of those places that I met my husband, Iyola. Iyola had just lost his wife and had 3 children. I was trying to drown his sorrows and that was how we met. When I learned what had happened to him, I felt sorry for him and I asked if I could help him sometimes with his children by cooking, washing and helping around the house. He agreed. I started doing that on my off days. He realized that his children were comfortable around me and offered to pay me more than I was earning to be their nanny. I was a nanny for 3 years and nothing happened. I was also Iyola's confidant, advising him on things, especially as regards his daughter who had become a teenager. We just started getting closer and closer until the children decided to plot their coup to bring us together and we got caught up in that web. Marrying Iyola was one of the best things that ever happened to me. When he heard my story, he made sure to pamper me and shower me with love. We've been married for 12 years and I look back and I thank God for bringing me out of all that mess. We looked for my son that I had with Josh and we connected. I'm now in my son's life. I have two more boys with Iyola, but one thing I made up my mind about is never to treat our first three children differently. Our first daughter, Fade, married early this year, and I am glad of the testimony she gave about how I stood in as a mother and a confidant for them when they lost their biological mother. I was able to face my parents last year, and when I saw them, I had no choice but to forgive them for all that they have done to me. My father had been in an accident and lost the use of his legs. My mother had a partial stroke. Jedediah had traveled to the US and they had not heard from him since. I'm working to locate him. The village chief that they forced me to marry had died before I met Iyola. I thank God for preserving me and turning my mess into a message. I hold no grudges and I'm grateful for the love and joy in my life. You would agree with me that this woman went through a lot of things, and some people will not forgive her, but she has chosen to forgive those people. Really, there's really nothing to do than to forgive them. You will agree with me that this is a very sad story, but thank God that this woman came out of all those things that she has been through. Imagine she got pregnant, they collected a baby from her, they forced her to marry one village chief and all that. What kind of parents do that? What kind of parents are they? I don't know why a lot of people do this kind of things. Like, you adopt a child, and then suddenly, because you have your biological child, you start maltreating the one that you adopted. When you adopt a child, that child belongs to you. You treat that child the same way you treat your biological child. Why would you, because you now have a biological child, now treat the one that you adopted in a bad way? It is wrong. And I've heard a lot of people do this kind of things. Why? Why? Every child that is around you should be taken care of. Every child should be taken care of. Where is our heart of compassion? Where is our heart of kindness? We're supposed to love children. When you see children, you're supposed to love them, help them and all that. So why would you have a child in your care and you decide that you want to maltreat that child? One of the things I'm glad about though is that Yemi decided there that she wasn't going to perpetuate the evil, the same evil that had been done to her. She said she wasn't going to do that. She said that she was going to stop there and she was going to be different to her husband's children. And she did that. And that's how we should behave. We shouldn't think to ourselves that, oh, when I was in this kind of situation, they dealt with me, so I will deal with this same person too. No, we can treat people better. Even though people treated us bad, we can still treat other people better. And thank you so much for writing in. I'm happy that your mess has become a message, and I'm so happy that you shared the story with us. Thank you so much for choosing to forgive your parents, though they were very, very wicked to you. Thank you so much for loving your last children like your own. Thank you for deciding to change the narratives. Though you were treated bad, you decided that you were going to treat other people well. That is very good. Thank you so much for writing in. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. And to all the young lady going through similar situation like Yemi did, just always know that like Yemi, was able to make sense of her life. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Always know that everything will be all right. Just continue to work towards making yourself better. Always know that things will go on fine. Just like things turned out right for Yemi, things can also turn out right for you. Don't give up. Keep your heads up and don't give up. Okay, guys, what do you think about this story? Let us meet in the comment section and let us discuss this. Till next time when I come your way again, my name remains Busola Dele David. Bye.